Welcome back to Devil's Diary TV. Let the story begin. Please understand this is horror that could happen to anyone. Please be carefully on dating apps. Hi, name is Katie, and you won't believe this scary story. An unexpected email popped into my inbox. The sender. A name that warmed my heart, Michael. An invitation was extended to me, a plea to join him in London, the city that always played the central role in my daydreams. The anticipation that stirred within me was electrifying. I was finally going to see the city I'd always dreamed of, and in the company of an old friend, Michael. I reveled the thought of rekindling our friendship, a thought that brought an involuntary smile to my face. Before I knew it, I was on a plane to London, my heart pounding with excitement. Upon my arrival, I navigated my way through Chelsea to the upscale apartment where Michael resided. I was received with a warm hug that brought a comforting familiarity. Little did I know, hiding behind this familiar face was a stranger, a threat I was completely unaware of. I was with the Tinder killer. Unbeknownst to me, pure and unsuspecting, my old companion Michael had undergone a dreadful transformation. I was blissfully unaware that the city of my dreams, London, was now the stage of a terrible secret connected to my dear friend. Michael had become entangled in the sinister cult, the Satanic Seekers, who had twisted his once gentle heart into something unrecognizable, with murder on his mind. This transformation had set him off on a horrifying of blood and fear. Oblivious in my innocence, I couldn't see the predator that Michael had become, lurking in the shadows. He was no longer just my old university friend, but a dangerous weapon, a murderer, prowling the digital world of Tinder in search of unsuspecting victims. His method was as simple as it was cunning. He would charm, entrap, and then, under the cloak of darkness, strike. Tinder, an app once synonymous with love, had become ground. Michael was a wolf in sheep's clothing, his icy, hollow gaze hiding the horrible acts he had committed, his appealing exterior fooling everyone who his path. And I, with my naive trust and bright smile, was his latest. My sheer joy at reconnecting with an old friend had blinded me to the reality beneath his. I saw only the Michael I once knew, the friend who had shared laughter and dreams with me during our university days. How I have possibly comprehended that this friend of mine had morphed into a monster, his soul swallowed by a darkness so deep it could freeze the blood? His charm was now a deadly weapon, his smile a fatal trap. His eyes, once warm and inviting, were now icy and empty, concealing the unspeakable acts he had committed. No one, not even I, could see the demon lurking behind his facade. His victims were unsuspecting, drawn into his trap by his charisma, meeting their end without a monster hid behind his affable facade, shielded from the world. I was yet to unearth the shivering truth about my old companion. Days would go by, the hidden darkness would slowly start to unveil itself, climaxing in a horrifying revelation that would turn my dream vacation into a waking nightmare. As the sun bid adieu to London's skyline on my inaugural day, my initial enthusiasm gave way to a bone-chilling dread. Michael's flat, which used to be my sanctuary from the city's hustle and bustle, had transformed into an enigma teeming with strange symbols and drawings. These cryptograms were everywhere, engraved on the walls, scribbled on strewn about papers, and even inked onto Michael's skin. The sight of them sent a cold shudder down my spine, my heart thundering like a drum run wild. These unfamiliar symbols were peculiar, yet ominously portentous. The images felt like a snake silently encircling and suffocating my secure feelings. The presence of Michael, once my old friend, was now an unfamiliar entity, his peculiar demeanor amplifying my growing discomfort. With fervor in his eyes, he spoke of odd rituals, his words a spectral melody reverberating in the quietude of the apartment. His intensity for these strange practices was unsettling, our discourse into a chilling symphony of apprehension. I found myself confined in an alien land with a man who was virtually a stranger. The once exhilarating seclusion of Chelsea now felt claustrophobic. The once radiant city had dulled in my view, turning into a sinister canvas for my escalating fear. The quaint streets I had once admired now seemed like a maze devised to hold me captive. The apartment, with its towering walls and locked doors, felt like a jail cell. The once welcoming space had mutated into a frosty cage. Homesickness and fear gnawed at my heart, my mind abuzz with nightmarish possibilities. Every groan of the floorboards, every flicker of the lights, every muffled city noise seemed a warning. In spite of the fear gnawing at my sanity, I knew I must stay vigilant. I had to unravel the mystery behind Michael's dangerous obsession and the cryptic symbols to survive. My days were fraught with nervousness, my nights with sheer terror as I traversed this daunting labyrinth of uncertainty. The walls of Michael's apartment were closing in, weaving a web of fear around me. I found myself on the brink of a chilling revelation, my pulse throbbing in my chest, echoing the frantic fluttering of a bird clamoring for release. My reality became a waking nightmare from which I couldn't extricate myself. I looked around, my eyes wide with horrific realization, the strange symbols and markings on the walls taking a sinister turn. What was once the comfort of my warm apartment now felt in an uncanny darkness that seemed to seep out of the walls themselves. The atmosphere was dense, almost stifling, as if saturated with the silent tales of unspeakable horrors. As I flipped through the pages of Michael's diary that I stumbled upon, the contents sent an icy chill running down my spine, each entry terrifying narrative of his heinous deeds. The diary was filled with stories of unsuspecting prey lured into their doom, their final moments filled with fear at the hands of a man they once trusted. Each name, each face, was a grim testament to Michael's transformation into the dreaded Tinder killer. The realization crashed over me with the force of a careening freight train. Michael, friend, was a monster. His congenial exterior was nothing more than a deceitful cover, disguising the darkness that him. I was ensnared in a foreign land in the grip of a ruthless murderer. An overwhelming wave of panic surged through me, a raw, instinctual fear that threatened to consume me. Alone, defenseless, in severe danger, my mind whirled with anxious thoughts as I grappled with my newfound reality. Each frantic heartbeat served as a chilling reminder of the impending danger. Will I survive? I needed to break to escape this terrifying nightmare. But how? Where I possibly go? The familiar of the apartment had now morphed into a petrifying prison. Every seemed to harbor a hidden terror, every noise a menacing echo in the darkness. The walls seemed to constrict around me, the darkness closing in. I was trapped, and only route to salvation lay through the enveloping darkness. I found myself teetering on the precipice of mortality, my life hanging in the balance. Yet within me surged a resolute drive to survive, dwarfing the fear that threatened me. Michael's once comforting abode, now transmuted into an icy cage, became the arena in which I waged my battle against time and an unknown fate. It was a perilous game of deception and subterfuge, with my life as the coveted prize. In spite my precarious situation, I set about devising my route to freedom. I communicated in a language of veiled signs and coded pleas to my family, hoping they would unravel my desperate cry for aid. Determined to leave no stone unturned, I also reached out to law enforcement, providing them with clues that might lead them to my prison. However, as the labyrinth to freedom grew more intricate, I noticed a wary shift in Michael's demeanor. His once affectionate gaze now held an icy determination, scrutinizing my every move and analyzing my every word. An oppressive tension began to seep into the apartment, an unspoken yet deafening affirmation of the looming threat. The once innocuous symbols scattered around the apartment now to glare at me, etching a permanent image of the beast Michael had morphed into. His watchful eyes followed me relentlessly, suspicion with each passing moment. I knew I had to be astute, maintaining an air of unpredictability keep him guessing. I feigned ignorance to his dark transformation, while meticulously planning my daring escape. My existence became a daily struggle for survival within the belly of the beast. Desperate for freedom, I embraced the shroud of the night, praying for deliverance. I knew I couldn't afford glance back, each beat of my heart propelling me through the labyrinthine streets of Chelsea. Each step I took echoed my resolve, distancing me from my horrifying past and inching me closer to the freedom I longed for. Finally cornered, I found myself in the ultimate fight for survival. The once comforting face of Michael, my once ally, now twisted into an unrecognizable mask of evil, chasing me through the labyrinthine streets of London. Fear surged through my veins like a rush of adrenaline, but survival was my only goal. I mustered every last bit of courage and cunning to outwit Michael, my mind racing far beyond the pounding of my heart. Each abrupt turn I made echoed with the increasingly distant, terrifying sound of Michael's footfalls. The horrifying cat and mouse chase reached its climax as the eerie cry of police sirens ripped through the night. As the flicker of blue lights started to glow from afar, a spark of hope ignited within me. The heart-stopping chase ended with the arrival of the police, their gleaming handcuffs a symphony of victory to my ears. Panting but undefeated, I watched my nightmarish reality unraveling before me. The terror beyond comprehension. I had come out on top, forever marked by my horrifying encounter with the Tinder killer. For more horror stories from the Devil's Diary TV, click here to watch now. Like, comment, and subscribe before it's too late for you too.